Hi, this is Anthony Magliocco from Post Magazine, and I'm here with Candace Reckinger, who is the director of the Cinematic VR Lab here at USC. Tell us a little bit about the program.
Well, our lab is it's a VR hub between all the different sections of the cinema school. So that means animation, production, screenwriting, cinema studies, interactive games. And we are a hub that is here to get students involved in learning to tell stories using VR technology. And we're working with Jaunt. Jaunt funds us, and we work with their awesome camera and their awesome production technology and post-production technology to make our stories in VR.
Tell us about how this program works. Do students apply to get involved in the program? I'm sure not everybody can get in.
That's right. We're funding creative projects in VR using the Jaunt equipment, and we're trying to fund a really interesting array of projects. So we're doing projects that tackle storytelling using writing and actors. We're tackling projects that might involve an element of interactivity. We're doing projects that mix media, that might combine animation with live action. We're doing projects that are experimental in how they're doing photography, but might also involve stories. We're doing documentaries. We're just exploring how do you create the new language of telling stories cinematically using virtual reality.
Yeah, I think there's a whole glossary problem. There's a whole how do you prepare your crew and script, and of course, shooting in 360 is a challenge. Where do you put the crew? You have to run and hide.
That's right. You have to run and hide. And Grant from Jaunt, in fact, was telling some funny stories about people having to hide behind desks and all kinds of tricks they have to do. And we talk about this all the time. The lab is actually a hub where we're engaging in a lot of creative conversation about how to make things. So this is one of the things we talk about all the time. How do you do that? Where do you put the lights?
Yes, this is a challenge. This is a challenge. So, what do students pitch their story or pitch their idea,
Yes.
and then of course it goes.
And I try to pick. We're doing short projects, so we're basically in the 1 to 5 minute range on the projects. But I try to pick projects that try to use the Jaunt camera in an interesting way. Really try to explore a new way of doing stories, because we have this 100-year-old language of storytelling, which is pretty sophisticated. We can really make beautiful stuff on a single screen, but when you look at VR, we find ourselves thinking about theater a lot. We find ourselves thinking about what games do and interactivity does. We find ourselves using words suddenly like choreography, because space is so important, and how you move the actors around the space. Moving the camera is a little different thing, because you don't want to get people to feel dizzy, but there's all this potential choreography because you have all this real estate that you're filming. So suddenly you find yourself in some ways thinking like a theater director. You actually got to think about, where do you put people? You can have someone move up and do a close-up, but you're not going to necessarily cut to a close-up.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. One of my colleagues has a dance company, and they were talking about how to do this for a dance company, which could be very exciting.
Very exciting. In fact, some of our projects involve dance. Dance is one of those things when students think about what do I do in front of the camera, they often think about dance because the choreography is implicit and the dancers know how to move. And we've been talking a lot to people in the new dance school here, the Kaufman Dance School, who are choreographers. And we found they're very helpful in thinking about space, because they have to think about it all the time. But we're exploring with moving the camera. You can do it. You just have to, some of it's trial and error, some of it's listening to what Jaunt has already gotten experience doing it. And the important thing is that we have, we have young filmmakers who are under a certain age, and to them, all this kind of media seems very organic. And so they come up with a lot of ideas, and they're very enthusiastic about putting their hands on it and getting going.
Well, I have to tell you, you're on the precipice of a very exciting time.
Yes.
And I'm sure the students here are chomping at the bit to get their hands into the soup here. And we look forward to seeing the results of these projects and share them with our audience of Post Magazine. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, and we'd be delighted to share our are projects that are just starting to get made.
Thank you again, Anthony Magliocco with Candace Reckinger from USC.